I went from 4 units to 225 units in a 3-year span. And the only thing I changed was I started meeting with the people who were way ahead of me. Instead of trying to buy deals, I tried to meet people.
How did you go about setting those goals?
You have 3,900 weeks. I would spend one of those to figure out where you're trying to go. That seems like a reasonable thing to do.
Do you have any clear action steps for beginners that would like to make it in the real estate space?
The first thing that you have to do
Welcome to the Lubo Smith podcast. I'm in Mexico City right now because I have decided that I want to try what it's like to be living in different parts of the world. So going forward, you will likely see me bouncing places quite a bit. But I want to make sure that we keep delivering great episodes going forward. So I hope you don't mind this traveling setup. Today, we have a special episode with Christian Osgood, the founder of Multifamily Strategy. Someone who went from being nearly broke to owning hundreds of different rental units across the United States. And Christian did that with no outside investment whatsoever. And him and I, we also chatted about what it's like to be dedicating a little bit of time to navigate life properly and how he basically approaches that. So it was a very insightful discussion. And although I don't have a whole lot of experience in real estate, I learned a lot. And I hope that you will too. So let's get into the discussion. Christian, thank you so much for joining me for an episode today.
Dude, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I know that you have built a great career when it comes to really building your reputation in real estate, but it has not been always like that. And there was a pivotal moment for you to basically drop everything and decide that this is what you're going to do. And I would like to kick things off with asking you about that particular moment and what was going on in your head and why did you decide that real estate was the thing?
Yeah, well, I'd always been interested in real estate. That was something I'd always wanted to do, and I'd geared my career towards getting closer and closer to real estate. I started a sales job, worked at a company called Lands.com, eventually worked for the CoStar Group, that's Apartments.com, LoopNet, Homes.com, that whole organization of sites. And I was trying to get closer to real estate. In that 8-year period, I bought 2 duplexes. And I think like a lot of people, I set a goal of man, rich people have real estate. I'd like to have more money. So let's keep buying real estate. And where we ended up with that is we had 2 duplexes, 4 units, cash flow a little over $2,000 a month. My mortgage on my house was about $2,000 a month. So my real estate was paying for my real estate. So I basically took that expense item out of my universe. And while that's pretty cool, that's certainly not being rich. That's not certainly, that's not financial freedom. That's just my tenants cover my mortgage and we do a great job providing, great housing for 4 people. Not super inspiring, helpful, but that took 8 years. The pivotal moment for me, my wife got injured at work. She was a kindergarten teacher. This is coming off of 2020. So we just shut down all the country. We were teaching kindergartners over Zoom online in a very low income area, which was ludicrously difficult. She comes back and she has a kid, push her over on the playground. She gets injured. The school district decides they want to cover it up. Just a terrible situation. So it's like, we have a terrible job. It's not worth your health or your sanity or anything for a teacher's salary. However, we needed her income to maintain our lifestyle. So what we ended up doing was I came with a goal of, hey, I'm loving this real estate thing. We've seen some success here. What would it look like to actually scale enough to cover her salary, my salary? And while we're at it, what are our goals? I want to build my dream house in Texas so we can start a family. I want to move from Washington to Texas where we have less of the political craziness that we do in Seattle, Washington. Once I set that goal, I went, okay, what does that actually cost on a monthly basis? Best we could figure, if we could get our income in real estate from $2,000 a month to $15,000 a month, we can save some, we can build the house, we can both potentially leave our jobs or do the jobs that we want to do. And so that's what we pursued. It ended up taking 11 months from setting that goal. And so what I learned there is when you have a specific goal with a specific timeline, and you actually have something that matters, right? Being richer does not get you through the hard times when it's like, hey, I would love to have more money, so I'm going to buy real estate. You'll probably buy a few rentals. if you have a specific target of like, I love my spouse and I want them in a better situation and I want to provide the house for my family and I want to start a family, if those become the goals and you have a timeline to that, that was the difference between me having 4 units. In the first year, I bought 85 units, or 86 actually. Today, I have 225 rentals. This is 3 years after making that decision. And the studio is in that dream house. We did build the house and we are 40 weeks pregnant. So we could have a kid during this podcast. I mean, we are full term.
It's all lining up.
It is. I can't make that one go any faster. That's going to come at the speed that it comes. But the other goals we were able to directly influence. And here we are exactly where we envisioned, which has just been a really cool adventure.
I have quite some angles that I would like to tap into, but one of the first ones is that, like, you have mentioned that you initially had a sales career, and are there any transferable pieces of experience or traits that you have taken from your past sales experience to basically building your real estate portfolio?
There's actually been a lot, and I've worked with a lot of people who don't have that experience. Everyone brings something unique to the table. One of my core business partners, his name's Caleb Hommel. He graduated high school, actually took a course that was taught by me. Then he bought 28 rentals at 19 years old. He didn't have any of that experience. He's done fine. He's actually done very well. I think he has 79 units today. Absolutely stellar investor. So you don't need the college education. You don't need the sales background. The ways that it has helped me, though, I think have been really significant. I've been able to, so I was a sales manager for quite some time. So I've built teams, I've hired, fired. The ability to hire fast and fire fast has been really important to me. And it's not that I like firing people. It's not like this is a brutal job. It's not working for Amazon where you're like, oh yeah, we're just going to cycle people in like crazy. But what I found is that if you're not the right fit for them and they're not the right fit for you, the best thing you can do for both parties, including the person you're letting go, is to let them pursue another opportunity that they're going to succeed in. So the first thing I learned, hire fast, fire fast, build the right team the first time. The other thing that I learned, just general sales skills, the ability to conduct a meeting without yammering on, without saying and like and kind of. Having a direct conversation with someone, and I ended up building the entire business on this. The owner meeting. Treat everyone as an owner of real estate, not a seller. I learned that selling CoStar to large owners, to large brokerages, to large banks. Treat everyone the same. It's the same pitch every time. But I go out real estate, and this is the opposite of technology. Funny enough, this is like the most analog way to do business ever. I have no lead gen software. I have no call centers, no door knocking, no mailer campaigns. I find who owns the building on Google Maps. So I look in an area I want to look in. I find these buildings. I call someone and I book a coffee meeting with them. And that is something I learned to do specifically in sales. Is the goal was never sell someone over the phone. Have a phone call to book a meeting, form a relationship in person. And from that, all the different opportunities arise. It worked for selling CoStar product to large owners. I get to know their business. I understand intimately what their needs are. We come up with a custom solution for them. They now know, like, and trust me. I understand how our product is going to interact with their business. We have a sale that is a lasting sale where they keep their product year after year after year. Turns out it worked exactly the same for real estate. If you find someone who's already done what you want to do, you meet with them, you learn their business, they understand your pieces, the proposals that you get to buy property align with the pieces that you have. So if they know you don't have a lot of cash, I get calls all the time from owners. It's not even selling their property half the time. It's just, hey, there's a deal that came up. It's 40 units, a little smaller than I'm doing in my part of my career, but I think they'll carry a contract. If I put in a good word for you, they might even do a little lower down. Would you like me to make that connection for you? That's a call that I get all the time. That's a skill directly. I mean, copy and paste that from a sales job. The owner meeting is everything in my business.
So basically, getting in front of them through the regular channels, but really building a strong relationship that goes beyond?
Absolutely. In practical application, there was a deal, 3 side-by-side duplexes, and I did eventually buy them, but it was on the market. Instead of asking the person to sell it to me before it hit the market, I was aware that they were looking at selling them. Instead of asking for the sale, I asked them for the meeting. And I talked to them about where I'm at, how they built their portfolio. Instead of offering to sell me the duplexes, they plopped me in their truck and they drove me all around the town. And they talked about how they bought these 5 duplexes over here, how they bought a 15-plex over there, they walked me through their entire career, their best practices, how they structured their deals. They talked about seller financing, first and second position notes. Then a few weeks later, they called me and said, hey, we actually have a partner who would like to be cashed out of those duplexes that I knew that they wanted to sell. They were offering them 25% down seller financed. They called me and said, hey, I know you guys are a little tighter on cash. If you can figure out 10% down, that gets us our partner cashed out and we'll carry the note to you. Super easy. So we went to really low down real estate because of the relationship. Since then, we've bought one of their 15 plexes. We've bought several deals from them. I've utilized their knowledge on deals so many times because I've been playing the game for 50 years. You don't get that relationship. If you're going after a deal, I could have bought those 3 side-by-side duplexes, the 6 units. I could have bought that 25% down and I could have been a buyer for that. Because I went for the relationship, I only put 10% down there, which opened up enough money for us to later buy the 15-plex and all this other real estate from them. And because we have a relationship, I have all these notes with them. They know that I pay the notes. They know how I operate real estate. I'm their favorite person to sell real estate to. So the transactions happen again and again and again. It is my favorite method to play the real estate game.
So in a nutshell, what you are saying is it's not about being one step ahead. It's about being one step behind and not really pushing it and taking things slow. And I don't mean
I love that.
Behind literally, but like you are taking time and building the relationship first.
Yes. And it doesn't take that long. When I started doing the owner meeting, I try to meet one person per week, which takes about 10 phone calls and maybe 2 or 3 people picking up. So, I mean, 3 conversations a week on the phone to book a meeting. In the course of a year, if you meet 52 owners, or say you even did 2 a week, and if you were crazy, 52 to 100 people in your market that you have met with who understand your pieces and you understand how they built their business, I promise you will do real estate transactions. You don't have to do other lead gen. You're going to be in the process connected with basically every broker, owner, property manager, lawyer. You get to use all of their resources. I love how you said that. If you are one step behind everyone, get in the room with all the people that you're 1, 2, 3 steps behind. You get a condensed time. And that's how we went from, I went from 4 units to 225 units in a 3-year span. And the only thing I changed was I started meeting with the people who were way ahead of me. Instead of trying to buy deals, I tried to meet people. Only difference. And I mean, geez, what a huge difference. That's a lot of millions of dollars of real estate difference with a little teeny tweak to the strategy.
And one other thing that I have picked up from you talking about this experience is that to me, it also feels like the consistency is the key, right? The fact that you can sustain doing the same thing over and over again. And it is in a way repetitive, but I feel like that's something that can apply to all aspects of life and business, that if you keep on doing something for a certain period of time, and you don't have to go crazy with the volume, but if you keep the cadence, the results sooner or later will come. It's inevitable.
When it comes to money, I like it to be simple, because if it's simple, it's typically going to be repeatable. If you have a business where your process is repeatable, it becomes scalable. And in real estate, where it's impossible to buy every building, there's far too much real estate out there. You can scale infinitely as long as you have principles where you're like, hey, when I buy deals, they all cash flow. I close on a deal, my income goes up every time. Basic structure. If you have a simple model and a simple procedure that you can do again and again and again, I don't care if it's simple and boring. That's actually, I want money to be boring. I want it to be predictable. I want it to be on repeat. There's lots of things in life that are complicated. I don't think business needs to be one of them more than it already is.
I would definitely appreciate if you educate me on all things real estate, as I come from a tech background, and maybe we can exchange notes. But something that you have mentioned at the beginning of our conversation really interests me, and it was when you mentioned the goals and how you set the goals. How do you work with that? Because I feel like if you know where you want to get, you are suddenly a lot closer to actually be getting there, versus if you don't know what your goal is, then you are just lost, and you will likely not be doing the right things. So how did you go about setting those goals, and how did you balance the ambition as well as picking something that is relatively realistic?
Well, what I found is when you hit a goal, you can always set a next goal, right? That's a lot of business, and a lot of the fun is the journey. And then you hit the peak, and you sit there for a second and you enjoy it, which usually takes a day or two. And then you go, we probably need a new set of goals and something new to strive for. The journey is really the fun here. So when you're balancing ambition, I found that is not helpful. And I talked to a lot of young people, just because I bought real estate when I had no money. Like I did it without money. I attract a lot of people into my universe who are like, I also, these younger guys, primarily, sometimes gals, but a lot of it is, men in their 20s who are like, I don't have the money, I want to buy real estate. And a lot of them have goals of, I want to make $3 million a year. It's like, okay, cool. Why? And they can't really communicate it. Their answer is like, well, it would be nice to have that much money, or I can't imagine spending that much. The problem is business is hard, and real estate, while it's very simple, there's a lot of stuff that happens, right? You're providing housing to humans. There's a lot of stuff that happens within providing great housing. There's interpersonal drama. There's, even a lot of domestic crime. Guess where domestic disputes happen? At the home. If you're involved in property management, there's crime things. There's occasionally drug issues that happen. If you have enough rentals, all of the things will happen. Non-pays. There's a lot to learn in the business, and a lot of things that can come up. If your goal is I want more money, and something hard happens, it is way too easy to be like, you know what? Actually, I'm fine where I'm at. I'm making plenty of money. I can stick in the 9 to 5. It's okay. If you have a goal that is significant, and that's really the only difference, if your goal is important to you and it's clearly defined, you think about that when it gets hard. When I had difficulties, I had a deal. I bought a resort that we buy multifamily, value add multifamily. That is my favorite thing to do. Take a building that is not being run optimally, fix it, enhance the community, provide entry level housing, do an excellent job doing it, have very happy tenants, make money doing it. Simple business model. We bought a seller financed resort, $4.5 million purchase on the water, foothills of the mountains, just gorgeous on Washington State's Hood Canal. It is saltwater canal that it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And what we found is it ended up being a huge distraction. We bought it only to make money, and it didn't. And while it does make money, it took all this time and energy away from our core business. And I feel like that type of thing happens when your ambition gets too great, or you're not focused on the goal. If the goal was sustainably, repeatingly boring, making my money boring, sustainable business model, I could have just kept making money. I could have hit my goal sooner. I would have a lot more rental properties today had I not got distracted on that side quest. If you can define something that matters to you, and I think you can do this for 1 week. If you took, this is what it was for me, and I think this is applicable to anyone. If you took 1 hour a day for 1 week and just quietly thought, like meditated on, what do I actually want my life to look like? You'll have a surprising amount of clarity in that 1 week over the 7 hours that you spend on this. Going, okay, this is what's actually important to me in life, and I'm going to go after those things. I don't think people take the time to do that. I think people get in a 9 to 5 job, they make money, they go home, they watch Netflix, they wake up the next day, rinse and repeat. I think if you took a little bit of intentionality and said, what do I actually want my life to look like? You can set some goals. And from those goals, it's pretty easy to work backwards and say, okay, what do those goals actually cost on a monthly basis? And then you can do the math for how much, if you want to do it in real estate or business, doesn't really matter. But if you want to do it in real estate, how much real estate would I need to buy so that my rental income sustains that life that I just envisioned for myself? And if you're like me, you don't need a sports car and a yacht. I have a very big house, but that was what mattered to me. I'm like, I would love to have a nice house. That's been a dream my entire life. So I have a nice house. I have one car because my wife and I don't need two. Tesla Model Y. Nothing crazy or fancy. I have one car. I have a beautiful house, exactly where I want to live. We have a kid on the way, and if I stopped working today, I would be A-okay. That is a really cool place to be. That was the vision. And so that's what we built to. I think a lot of people just build and build and build. And if you keep doing that, eventually you're going to make a mistake that wipes you out and you're going to have to do it all over again.
Well, I wanted to answer your question, how many people actually take 1 hour a day to think about where they want to be, and they would be doing it consistently for at least a week.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard of anyone who would do that, and I think it's such a miss.
Yeah,
because what you mentioned is so true, that if you take time, because like the most clarity that I get personally is when I have free time, when I'm not overwhelmed with all the things of the day and everything, and I can just think about how to structure things. And I think that you just put it in a nice package when you mentioned just take 1 hour a day for a week to sort things out. You don't need to take 1 hour a day forever, but you can do that periodically, right? Every quarter or something.
And just to put it into context, I just pulled out my calculator here. So I don't know how long the average lifespan is, but let's say you live to 75 years. That seems like a reasonable target. You live 75 years old. There's 52 weeks in a year. You have 3,900 weeks. I would spend one of those to figure out where you're trying to go. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. And I think the vast majority of people don't do that.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. And like, you probably don't want to spend only one, but you would like to do that. Like, you always want to course correct, but it's just a great realization that we don't do it often enough.
No,
and that's why I was very much looking forward to this conversation, because like Christian comes from a totally different space that I have no experience with whatsoever, but a lot of the things, thoughts, and experience is transferable to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
What was your biggest surprise entering the real estate market?
Biggest surprise entering the real estate market? That's a great question. And I think, you know what it really was? It was how easy it was to be a better operator than the next person. I came into the real estate market being like, man, there's all these professionals. How am I going to compete? My first significant transaction I did was 38 units, seller financed. They had horrible collections. There was a homeless camp on the back of the property. I mean, it was a mess. I was like, boy, you would think that if there's I bought it for $2 million. 11 months later, by the way, it appraised for $4.1 million. We made, in my 20s, my first commercial real estate transaction made $2 million. When we did this deal, one would think that the current owners would see, wait, there's $2 million here that I already own. I'm going to fix the problems and I'm going to make $2 million. It's amazing to me how consistently we buy real estate, where it's like, yeah, rent is 50% of market. There's some things in disrepair, and we'll do the deal. And it's not always seven figures, but I've had multiple deals where we bought it $0 out of pocket. No money at all. We didn't syndicate, crowdsource. I would either buy it seller financed, or we'd get it low down seller financed and have an equity partner come in. So I mean, maybe I do it as a JV every once in a while. But we had multiple deals where we made $1 million only on operating better than the prior owner. And that was just mind blowing to me. And so there was a while where I was like, I was buying Grant County, Washington, a city of Moses Lake, Ephrata, and Quincy are the three main cities there. I'm buying there and I'm like, did I just find a magic location? And then we did it in Mason County, Washington, over on the coast. Same thing. Bought a mobile home park for $300,000. Appraised at $1.2 million. It's ridiculous. Then we did it in Texas, city, Stephenville, Texas. I think it's my favorite place I've ever invested. I love that city, or town rather. I love that town. And we did the same thing there. We improved buildings. We kept things under market rent. We provided amazing spaces for people to live. The tenants are happy. They have great communication, excellent maintenance. Their rent is still below market rent. And we come in and we make 7 figures. I was like, this is amazing. The ability to operate better than the prior owner. I way over explained that, but the ability to operate better than the prior owner is the number one most surprising thing. There are opportunities everywhere in the country to do this. And it's not that it's easy, because it's not. It's a lot of work, but it's so simple. It's so simple to learn. That blew my mind.
Sounds simple for sure, but I definitely feel like there's a lot of hard work behind it, because otherwise everyone would be doing it, right?
There is. But you spend, over the course of 8 years, I bought 4 rentals in my house, and that was pretty cool. Over the last 3 years, I worked almost every second. But I mean, we bought $30, $40 million of real estate. I need to sit down and do the math again. It's closer to 40 million than 30 million. And I did it without any money. Like, I spent all of my money on those 2 duplexes. So I came in with $5,000 in my bank account. We were able to make a couple $1 million on a real estate project, me and one partner. That business partner was 21 at the time, by the way. So a 29-year-old and a 21-year-old can make $2 million in a real estate market on a deal that was on market at that price for 13 years. It was listed for 13 years. Online, you could just Google apartments for sale, Moses Lake. It would have popped up first. Anyone could have done the deal. We just were the group that said, hey, it looks like a hard project. We should do it. And then we did. It's crazy how
where did you find the courage to actually do that? And what was the basically insight that, okay, this is how we will do it. This is the playbook that we will now use. That's gonna prove that it's something that's scalable.
This is funny, and you should do more due diligence than this. This is what the thought process was. Because I'd worked with the CoStar Group for 4 years. So I've done a lot of commercial real estate analysis. I've used software to do this. So CoStar is an amazing product. And so that tech background in analyzing deals, selling data, I understood what we were looking at. And I was like, I can't see a universe in Washington State where the average rental at the time, the per door, if you're buying multifamily, it was going for like 150 in that market. And it's priced at 50. I'm like, if we're buying it for a third of the price, but we have all of these problems, I don't believe that we are not going to be able to make money here. Like, I see $1 million of upside for sure. And I think I'm right. I haven't done it before, but I really think conservatively, we can buy for 2, it's worth 3, and we need to put $300,000-$400,000 back into the building. I think most people will find $300,000 or $400,000 if you're going to make $1 million. If you're like, I can go from $5,000 to $600,000 in my savings account. That's pretty good. I would love to do that. That really increases my net worth. We did it. We found out that we were completely wrong. It was worth $4.1 million. So we made $1.6 million after investing the money in the property. I'm like, that was a really, really, really good return. Is it repeatable? Within 2 weeks of closing that one, by the way, we bought that 6-unit deal. I bought a 7-unit deal in Seattle. We did a lot of low down seller financed. And when you come to investors, by the way, there's a side note, but if you're like, where does the money come from? Seller finance, a lot of them were 10% down. The Seattle one was 3.5% down. If you come to an investor with an opportunity where you're like, hey, this is going to make $1 million or more, and we need, we've already found the deal. We've negotiated it. It's under contract. We got seller financing, a debt product that no one else has negotiated on this. Is 90% funded. We're asking for the last 10% for us to make the $1 million. It's a super easy pitch. Very easy pitch. Raise the money, do the deal, refinance it. I still own all those properties today. Like, I don't sell them. You buy them, you hold them, you build the portfolio. And traditionally, on almost every deal, I've already pulled all the initial capital out. I've bought out the investor, and now I just own that deal myself. It's a very simple, repeatable process. But these opportunities, I'm finding them in I've done it in Seattle. You can do it in core markets, but it's really a lot simpler to do it in secondary and tertiary markets. Populations of 50 to 150,000 people. those towns just have so many opportunities to repair mid-sized multifamily, and no one's competing. It's easy to get in there, and you usually have 5 or 6 different groups that are in the same space. So you have a small little tight-knit community of people who are improving the community. It's super fun.
You have mentioned that you feel pretty comfortable with your current setup, but you still keep pushing further, right? And I'd love to understand